This was our backyard camping retreat last night. Hello there. It is Wednesday the 29th, day 14, our first rest day, which we're taking in Cedar City. And I am headed out to grab some lunch, and then I'm going to check into a hotel so we can sleep in a proper bed to prepare for tomorrow's serious climb. And we'll be meeting our Warm Showers host at a pizza restaurant for dinner tonight. I did a lot of editing for the videos on the computer this morning. That's about all that was missed to any of you viewers out there. A lot of sitting at the dining table and putting videos together and uploading them to YouTube. Hoping that this rest day brings strength back into my legs and I climb those 4,500 feet tomorrow with ease. Let's go. A Chinese buffet was calling my name. Filled up my first plate. The landscape is going to get much more green today. Utah 14 east to US 89 north is our route. We are climbing to 9,900 feet through a single mountain pass before descending into Hatch. 4 miles off route is an opportunity to see Cedar Breaks National Monument, which looks breathtaking in photos, but it doesn't get many visitors since it's not on the route between Zion and Bryce Canyon National Parks. It will have been several days since seeing a body of water, so I'm looking forward to a view of Navajo Lake to our south. Good morning, it's Thursday, May 30th, day 15. Where did day 14 go? Day 14 was a rest day, and there wasn't much happening. I woke up and had breakfast at our Warm Showers host, some oatmeal and granola and fruit. And I worked on videos and posted a lot of them. And then had lunch at a Chinese buffet in town. That sounded good to me. And then we all had dinner with that Warm Showers host at a pizza restaurant in town. And we stayed in a hotel last night so we could sleep in a proper bed, because today's a doozy. To the point where this morning when Paul and I were getting ready, he said, I didn't laugh at one of Paul's jokes. To be fair, it wasn't one of his best jokes. Something to do with afterburners on a bike. And he said, "You didn't laugh at my joke. Dave, you didn't laugh at me joke. Are you a bit nervous?" My Irish accent's going away. "Are you a bit nervous about today?" He said. I said, "Is it that obvious?" "Yes, I am. Because we're climbing up to like 9,900 feet. So highest elevation that will be, and steep ascent for what's going to be maybe 4.5 hours straight of climbing, our toughest climb yet. So that's what I have to look forward to today. Also, our route changed a bit. I think the GPX files that I had must have been made when the Cedar Breaks Road gets closed for part of the year in the winter, and I originally had us going through Hatch, but now I replaced the GPS file to now be going through Panguitch, and we will we'll see how that one goes. And I heard between the two, if you can, the one through Panguitch is better. It's a bit shorter. So I'm exiting Cedar City, which has been beautiful and fun. And I'm sure we'll be chatting on this climb. An update on the hives. They are improved. The spread and coverage is still just as wide, but they're not as red and they're not as raised. I think that means they're going down, my body's fighting them off, and the medicine I'm taking is working. The keen observer would have noticed something different about my wardrobe. I forgot something else I did on the rest day. I went shopping for a hat, a cap. The one I had, that orange one, the headband of it was just coming loose, the stitching from the cap and the brim, and it was sliding all over my head, especially with the helmet on top of it. And so I went to several stores and struck out. Last store I went into, the one I liked best, only came in black. Come on, the worst possible color for a hat. I wanted it white and as light as possible, but this one had the best SPF coverage. It was the most breathable, it was the thinnest, and so I went with it. It's black, but most of the time it's only the brim that's exposed to the sun. The rest of it's under this orange helmet, so I justified it. Hopefully this hat will last forever, because it was not a cheap hat. Hats are not cheap anymore in 2024. It's laughable how many times a day I am already in first gear and I attempt to shift into an even lower gear. It's never worked. I don't think it's going to. Seeking out one lower gear so I can spin a little more. This is all I got. Still uphill? You better believe it. We're on a stretch of 6.5 grade. It's been a bit gentler up until now. I don't know if this is what I should expect from now until the summit, or if this is just temporary, but it's tough. That's obviously not referring to me. I'm flying. I've climbed 1,400 feet now, and the temperature has dropped considerably. I bet it's in the mid-30s now. I don't know how much of that comes from the elevation and how much of it comes from being in this slot canyon that just doesn't get much sun at all. I'm getting chilly. Breath test. Yeah, it's cold. It's only a 3.7% grade now, and I've been going 6, 7 so long, this almost feels flat now. Wow. And just like that, the road is cooking in the sun, and it's really warmed up nicely here. Might be able to shed a layer. I saw this place on the map before I left, and my dream was that they were going to have this room with a roaring fireplace and a big plush leather sofa in front of it for me to sit and enjoy a snack for a while. But it's locked up and there's gates and private property, no trespassing, so. 3,122 feet, and I have descended 19 feet. That 19 feet was really memorable. Oh, wow. And I'm stopped here at a 10% grade, and I'm just trying to catch my breath. A good topic would be discussing the cars that have honked at me. So I'm on day 15, and I would imagine I've had, I don't know, 25 to 30 cars honk at me. Probably 3 or 4 today, so more than usual. And the one that really surprised me was there was 2 lanes on my side of the road. 2 lanes and not much traffic. I was riding the white line in the right lane on the right side of the road, and there was only 1 car going in my direction, and it was in the next lane. So there was an entire lane between me and the other car. And the truck blared on its horn as it was passing me. Not a like, hey, good for you, go strong. It was a, what's wrong with you? You're hogging the road and making life difficult for me. So that one I just didn't get. But I went into this with the expectation that every car was not going to give me enough space and every car was going to honk at me. So when cars did give me space and don't honk at me, then that's something to celebrate. But it got me thinking about stereotypes, and I'm not exaggerating here. This is an honest statement. 100% of those 25 to 30 vehicles that have honked at me since I started the trip have been pickup trucks. 100%. Now, there's 2 explanations for that. The first explanation is it's just been a crazy coincidence that even though pickup trucks only make up 20% of the cars on the road, it's just this crazy coincidence that 20% honked at me and the other 80% that are driving SUVs and cars and station wagons didn't honk at me. That's the one explanation. The other explanation is that people in pickup trucks are more likely to honk at me. And so that leads me to a thought on stereotypes. So if I see a vehicle that is, there was a Cedar, there was a minivan. All right, they didn't honk. Well, obviously I'm standing still. But does that mean that if we have a car or a station wagon or an SUV that they're 100% guaranteed to not honk at me? Of course not. And does that mean that if there is a pickup truck, it is 100% guaranteed to honk at me? No, that's certainly not the case. I can't go into life with that expectation. But when 100% of the 30 vehicles that have honked at me have been pickup trucks, what other conclusion can I draw, and what am I supposed to do with that information? And you probably see where I'm going with this. How does that apply to other areas where stereotypes could come into play, when the data certainly support that there is this certain pattern among a certain group? In this instance, it's people who drive pickup trucks. And what do we do with that? Because we don't want to be racist and judgmental, but the data are also telling us something. There's my bicycle thoughts of the morning. It's a temporary summit. It does not mean we've reached the top. I know we have a short downhill after this, and then another climb into Cedar Breaks National Monument. Oh boy. But that's certainly the highest we've been all trip. Previous was at, the high altitude and low oxygen. It's like I was hit with a stupid stick. What's the name of it? Carson Pass. Carson Pass in California was 8,600 feet. So, wow, we've surpassed that and then some. And I have about 4 miles to go from here until Cedar breaks. And have a nice long rest there, maybe even a lay down if there's a flat spot. And then we'll have some fun descending. And the snow is back. Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? So here's the latest story. I was behind Peter and Paul. Peter stopped at the intersection where we're supposed to turn left to go into Cedar Breaks National Monument. And he said Paul went blazing past this intersection. And Peter yelled, "Hey, Paul, we turn left here." And Paul just kept on going. So we think Paul had the wrong GPS file loaded. And our current idea is to flag down a car that's headed that direction that could wave him down and tell him he took a wrong turn. That's the plan. All right, that's the vehicle that I told, hey, look out for Paul, the Northern Irishman going the wrong direction. And so they're gonna keep an eye out for him and tell him to turn around and head up to Cedar Breaks. I'm experiencing the dull altitude headache, being at 9,900 feet, climbing up a 6% grade, and using as much oxygen as I am. Oh, this is not easy. The answer to the question is, riding across America easier or more difficult than you thought it would be? The answer is, without any hesitation, much more difficult than I thought it would be. That doesn't mean I regret my decision or it's not worth doing. I'm still so happy that I'm doing this. The difficulty level is beyond what I expected. I have long wanted to come here. Seen it in pictures so many times with just an outstanding view, which I have not seen yet, and I will soon. I'm stoked for it, and I earned it by climbing 4,500 feet this morning. I've crossed 10,000 feet of elevation. Oh my! It wasn't easy. 15 days into the trip, that's the first porta potty I used. The good news is Peter got a hold of Paul on the phone right over there. I don't know where Paul is or how far behind he is, but we have made connection with him. And I believe Peter's discussing plans on where we should be meeting up. Yeah. I can't wait for a coast for the second half of the day. We found Paul. Huh? We found Paul. Paul's back with us. He did 12 bonus miles. That's right.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
His Garmin froze at an inopportune time. That's the story.
That's the story.
Wow.
Whether it was the Garmin froze or I froze.
One of the two. The people in the truck that we spoke with, when they saw Paul, they actually offered to take him in their truck back up to the intersection, and Paul declined. He's a tough guy. Our view for lunch. We left lunch thinking, oh, it's all downhill from here. We're at 10,300 feet, and Panguitch is at 5,000 feet. We've been doing a whole lot of climbing since we left lunch, including a quarter-mile stretch of 10% plus grade. Oh, get me to that downhill. Avoid of all the noise and all the lazy luxury. We left lunch maybe half hour ago, and we're still climbing. This is disheartening. I guess I should have paid better attention to the map, knowing, hey, once once we reach that Cedar Breaks viewpoint, it's not all downhill from there. We still have a lot of climbing to do. Hang in there, David. Here we go! Woo-hoo! Yay! All right! Whoa! 41! Yay! Way! 42! Whee! 44.9! This hasn't been the most epic of descents from Cedar Breaks to Panguitch. Plenty stretches where we need to drop back into first gear for another hill climb. Of course, it's mostly descents, but man, when you want nothing more than to just rest your legs, having to crank out some more hills in first gear is a tough pill to swallow. Part of me wonders if the restoration from yesterday's rest day has all been lost on today's epically difficult day. I don't know, we'll see how we feel tomorrow. That's Panguitch Lake over there. Pattern that I have recently found myself in is saying, oh, you know what, after this day, oh, it's going to be nice, we're going to have 2-3 easy days compared to this, or oh, after we crest this hill, the rest of the afternoon is going to be really easy piece of cake. And I have really been disappointed in those predictions not coming true, so I need to either make more accurate predictions or not depend on those predictions coming true. Booked a room at the Days Inn, but all the branding is Econo Lodge, but that's all right. And our room, zip, is right here, room 119, and oh, it's a nice one. The amount of room in here for the stretch limo, wow, this is one of the best we've had. All right, Paul's gonna nap. I'm gonna bring my bike in here and then go get some chocolate milk. Another mile-high climb day. We did it. Provisions and hopefully chocolate milk. Chocolate milk with chocolate strawberry granola. That's our recovery snack today. Mmm. I'm getting a Butterfinger shake made here at the drive-in in Panguitch. Here's the daily recap from Henry's Drive-In in Panguitch, Utah. Scenery today 10. It was by far my most favorite day scenery-wise. Just epic throughout. Cedar Breaks at Panguitch Lake I thought was gorgeous. Yeah, gonna be hard to beat. Difficulty 10 out of 10. Probably expected that, and yeah, it truly was a 10 out of 10 difficulty. Overall feeling of positivity 6. Road conditions were a 3, namely the ascent from Cedar City up to Cedar Breaks. Really poor road and crumbled shoulder, all that, and lots of traffic. Bye.